The following video contains spoilers. We suggest watching the episodes alone in the dark. Hello, Wolfpack. We're back, and today we're taking a look at a special requested episode of the hit horror series R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. Now, you would not believe how many times people requested me to review this episode. Will you review the one with the ice cream truck? Will you review the one with the ice cream truck? Okay, you guys, I get it. I got you your ice cream. Now, I will admit that this is a very unique idea presented here on this story. R.L. Stine and his writing staff are trying to make the ice cream truck scary. Yes, you really heard that. The show wants to make the ice cream truck the next horror monster to haunt your nightmares. Well, it could work. I mean, it did for this guy. But can R.L. Stine make the ice cream truck television's greatest supervillain? Well, I don't know, but that's what we plan to find out. You all wanted your ice cream truck? Well, it's finally here, and it has plenty of dark surprises inside. So let's stop wasting time and unfreeze this cold, tasty treat of horror. This is my review on the R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour episode, Catching Cold. So our episode opens up, immediately introducing us to the creepiest ice cream truck you'll ever see. Okay, I'll give this episode some early points, since it does give us our main villain in the first few seconds, instead of having us waiting around for it to show up. I'm looking at you, Spores. So it's a fairly creepy start. And yes, the ice cream truck is easily the most terrifying car you'll ever see on this show. It appears right the heck out of nowhere, with no explanation as to where it came from, and this car just takes over every scene it's in. Literally, this truck manages to steal focus all the time. It feels like the truck itself is just oozing with personality. Just look at how unnatural that vehicle is. By the way, you all remember how I constantly say in my old videos that more than half of the show's villains act like child molesters? Well, here, they instead chose to settle on the big white van only a child molester would drive, just to have a little variety. I mean, would any of you want to buy ice cream from a car that has this face staring at you? Ugh, that is such a creeper face. Who would even buy a car like this to attract innocent children?
Excuse me, I'm looking for a car that's been tricked out to look like an ice cream truck.
Damn it. I'm sorry, what?
You know, with colorful pictures of ice cream trees. And it plays a tune that's fun for the young children. Da 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 da.
So after we get an eerie shot of the pedo car driving around to pick up children, we're then introduced to our main character, an overweight, lazy brat named Marty. He's played by Robert Capron, who would also act as the main character on The Cast, and is best known for playing in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies as the character Rowley. Hi, Rowley. I look forward to seeing your best friend die and become a mummified corpse in the future. Marty apparently sits around wasting his life because he's too lazy to earn his allowance by cleaning up his room. But on this very day, our protagonist's life is about to change when he spots the pedo ice cream truck coming down his street. Marty quickly gets up to beg his family for money to buy ice cream, but absolutely nobody gives him any, since Marty has a history of abusing everyone's trust. Yeah, in case you're wondering, Marty is not exactly a noble character in this story. Also, Marty's sister plays absolutely no part in this entire plot and could have been written out entirely. What a waste of a minor character. When his police officer for a father shows up, we get a very weird scene where Marty almost steals his dad's wallet, but then he just opens up a drawer that has a 20 hidden inside. What, was that supposed to fool the audience into thinking Marty would do something predictable? I guess the writers wanted to show us that Marty can be a jerk, but he's still a nice kid deep down. But I honestly don't think Marty's innocent at all by the end of this tale. So after getting some money, Marty tries catching the mysterious creamy cold truck, but he just misses it. Well, that was a short episode. It delivered everything it promised. So what did I think of it? Oh wait, it's still going. Yes, apparently we cut to the next day, where Marty tells his best friend Ari about this strange creamy cold ice cream truck that ignored him, but his best friend tells him that he never saw an ice cream truck yesterday at all. But then, an ominous mailman overhears the two boys, and he tells them that he's heard of the creamy cold truck himself from his childhood. He tells the kids a story where 30 years ago, a young boy named Jimmy Jeffries used to obsess over the creamy cold ice cream truck after it mysteriously showed up in their neighborhood. Apparently, this ice cream truck left ice cream out for Jimmy right on his doorstep, which the kid enjoyed so much that he demanded more. When the truck vanished for a short time, the kid's entire life became consumed with a need to catch creamy cold. However, the mailman also says that he never saw the ice cream truck himself, and that none of the other kids believe Jimmy Jeffries ever saw a truck. But one day, the boy just disappeared completely without a trace. They never saw him or the existence of the ice cream truck Jeffries rambled on about ever again. And after that little bit of nightmare fuel, the mailman simply moves on with his job and is never seen again. No, seriously, this mailman just shows up to drop some creepy exposition on us, and then he kind of vanishes for the rest of the story. Why? You'd think that a character with so much information would play a major part in the episode. The show also wasted a perfectly good opportunity to have the ice cream truck murder this character for knowing too much, but that's fine. I wonder if we'll ever know the secrets behind that wise mailman. That night, Marty tries to sleep, but suddenly he hears something outside his door. He goes downstairs to see what the commotion is all about, but guess what? The ice cream truck is parked right outside on Marty's lawn, and it left him an ice cream treat. And like any smart kid would do, Marty immediately eats the whole snack that a stranger left for him at night with no adults around. While the kid stupidly gobbles up the whole ice cream treat a big white van left for him, we see the creamy cold truck watching him eat it all with a close-up shot of its perverted face. Okay, I know we still have more story to go through, but I just want to break down this scene in particular. While this is indeed a very creepy scene, it makes me think, where the heck is everybody? Is there honestly nobody seeing this right now? Not one single person wakes up to the ice cream truck song and sees this creeper van parked on some kid's lawn giving a child ice cream at night? What would anyone in this world say if they saw this exact scene firsthand? It's just a creepy ice cream truck parked on that fat kid's lawn. It's not as weird as those stalker clowns following that little boy, or that ghost RV following that other girl last week. Boy, we sure live in a spooky neighborhood. Also, this is only a minor detail, but isn't Marty's dad a police officer? You'd think that a professional officer of the law would be observant enough to notice a creepy van parked outside his house following his own child. I mean, really, the first time we have a police officer on a haunting hour short, and he completely fails at his job. Marty's dad is the worst cop ever. But back to the more obvious point, how stupid does a child have to be to eat something a stranger leaves out for them? It's honestly a bit mind-blowing that Marty doesn't even feel creeped out eating with this thing smiling while he puts that whole cone in his mouth. But I will admit that this scene does have quite a lot of significance, despite the huge plot hole of nobody seeing any of this, and Marty being a total moron. This scene really feels like a predator luring out its prey. Think about it. This truck is obviously targeting Marty like a hunter, so it deliberately leaves him some sweet food to lure him towards its grasp. Marty is nothing more than a target the creamy cold truck wants to capture, and this moment cleverly symbolizes that feeling of a child being hunted for sport. It's kind of a primal fear of being hunted down by somebody dangerous, and the show leans into that idea a lot, but this part definitely takes that idea to higher levels. But if you also put this concept into the main theme this episode is really trying to go for here, this is originally meant to symbolize a drug dealer offering a customer their first free hit of their good product before getting them completely hooked forever. Yes, seriously, This whole episode turns into a lesson against drug addiction real fast, as you'll all see soon enough. So after Marty gets hooked on ice cream, he screams for more ice cream, but the truck backs up and leaves, now confident that it has its target tangled up in its web.
I want more! I want more! More! I want more!
Wow, and I thought the Sasquatch had a dangerous ice cream obsession.
What do you mean, no ice cream? I want ice cream! Hey!
Well, it could be a lot worse. At least it isn't Sasquatch Jr. screaming for ice cream.
I want ice cream! I want ice cream! Give me ice cream!
The next morning, Marty tells his BFF Ari about the creamy cold truck and how it left ice cream for him. So instead of telling his dude bro to call the police immediately, Ari simply asks Marty why the truck would do such a strange thing. But all Marty can think about is how delicious that ice cream was, as he tells Ari that this ice cream was the greatest ice cream in the universe. Why? Because it had drugs in it! Yeah, I'm going to level with you all right now. It's subtly implied that the reason Creamy Cold has such awesome ice cream is because its magical taste is really super drugs used to get children obsessed with wanting the product. It's pretty subtle at first, but it slowly falls into blatantly obvious as Marty starts showing signs of addiction. Nevertheless, the ice cream drugs are pretty clever story elements used in this episode, so good on the writers to teach you kids to not use drugs. Speaking of which, you all might want to get used to Marty's demented fetish for ice cream, because it grows unsettling very quickly. In fact, you could easily replace all of this kid's dialogue with this.
I want ice cream! I want ice cream! Give me ice cream!
All joking aside, this is only the beginning of the gruesome parallels to drug addiction. Don't believe me? Then check out this very next scene where our main character is drawing an ice cream cone and fantasizing about licking it.
Ew!
I think it's safe to say that our protagonist has caught more than a little brain freeze. Later, when he tries to sleep, the episode takes Marty's insanity even further when he literally cannot stop thinking about the Cars theme song. In fact, we get a semi-creepy, semi-hilarious moment where Marty thinks everything is sounding like the ice cream truck's theme.
Huh?
Okay, honestly I can't tell you whether this was meant to be serious or funny. I get that the writers want us to know that Marty's obviously addicted to the ice cream, or that the truck is somehow using its magic powers to screw with him, but it gets a little funny at how random these events occur. Could you imagine if Marty started obsessing over ice cream this much in his adulthood?
If you want to keep your job, then you better start...
But the episode does make it ambiguous if Marty is imagining the ice cream song, or if the truck is using its hellish powers to manipulate him, since it turns out that the creamy cold truck really is outside, as Marty sees it once again parked outside of his house. Yep, with absolutely no witnesses around to see it at all. He thinks the truck is waiting for him, but before Marty can get to it, his idiot father appears questioning what he's doing, while the truck pulls a Batman and vanishes into thin air. Since he has no proof of the truck outside, the dad calls Marty back inside the house. However, we see that the truck was secretly hiding, as it watches Marty from afar. While the creamy cold truck drives away, we see a dark figure in the back of the freezer window moving around. Call me crazy, but I don't think this ice cream truck is interested in selling people ice cream at all. I mean, what kind of an ice cream man goes out of his way to avoid paying customers?
I'm all out of ice cream! You know, ice cream, ice cream.
We cut to the next morning, where Marty once again tells his BFF Ari about the ice cream truck, but his friend still doesn't believe him because nobody but Marty has seen the truck. Well, gee, from the sound of things, it almost seems like history is repeating itself, with everything that happened in that tale about Jimmy Jeffries now happening to Marty. Very peculiar. Now, to this episode's credit, they do present a theory as to why nobody but certain people can spot the haunted truck. Marty tells Ari that he thinks you have to believe in the ice cream truck in order to see it. That the truck comes by every once in a while, and only those who crave its tasty treats will be able to see the supernatural truck through their eyes. So I guess we're using Santa Claus logic to justify the haunted ice cream truck now. But that is a pretty good idea, that the haunted ice cream truck will only show itself to those it chooses to reveal itself to. Makes more sense than people missing clowns on the streets. Unfortunately, Marty follows up his strong argument by acting creepy again when he talks about his ice cream fetish in very disturbing detail. I mean it, this kid's bizarre obsession for ice cream soon turns into a weird sexual lust for it, to the point where he actually says that he fantasizes about bathing naked in an ice cream tub. Ugh, thanks for that, image writers. A fat kid washing himself in an ice cream tub is the true nightmare fuel. Ari questions him on this, and does what any rational person would do by telling Marty that he needs serious help. But Marty responds by acting like a colossal jerk, and he kicks Ari out of his room, where we get another look into Marty's screwed up ice cream fetish when he starts scrawling creamy cold all over his math book. Okay, forget constantly thinking about the ice cream theme song. I think Marty's adulthood would now look something like this.
You're thinking about that ice cream truck, aren't you? Well, you can just forget about... Lick me, big boy. I said lick me.
You're not ice cream, beggar.
So because the episode is no longer subtle about the ice cream being a metaphor for drugs, Marty starts acting like a drug addict as he walks the streets while rambling on about creamy cold. But his jerk dad jump scares him when he finally decides to try to be a good parent by giving his son a brand new bicycle. I'm pretty sure he stole it from the evidence locker since it's in the back of a police car, but it's the thought that counts. When the dad actually asks his son if he's feeling okay, Marty dodges his questions when he takes an interest in the police spike strip in the trunk, where the dad tells him that the spikes are a useful tool for stopping cars. Oh boy, I smell an insane plan coming up. So Marty begins to bike away, but we see that the ice cream truck was watching him the whole time. Wait, hold on a second. That ice cream truck came from the exact same road the father was just driving down a few seconds ago. So this means that the creamy cold truck really can only be seen by those who believe in it. However, my only gripe with this theory is that this episode doesn't take advantage of moments like this. Wouldn't it have been 10 times scarier if we had a scene where Marty sees the ice cream truck in plain view with other people in the area, but only he could still see it? Where Marty would try telling people that the truck is real and there, but nobody had the ability to see it at all since only he believed in it. That would have been awesome. It'd be like something out of It or Silent Hill. But strangely, the only thing we get close to ideas like that are some vague hints like the truck vanishing whenever Marty's father shows up, or people completely missing the truck whenever it's speeding by. I'm not holding anything like this against the story, but it's a little disappointing that they don't take advantage of the invisible ice cream truck for even more scenes. But back in the plot, Marty meets with Ari again, because I guess they're still best friends, where Ari tries to ease his BFF by offering him ice cream, but Marty acts like a jerk by spitting it out for not being as good as creamy cold ice cream. Okay, I know we're nearing the climax soon, but I have a small question. Are we supposed to like Marty? So far, this kid has done nothing good, and it's implied that Marty was a terrible person before he got addicted to the ice cream truck. He abuses the trust of his friends and family. He's lazy. He's uncaring. He acts like a greedy jerk. He steals things. And his addiction to the ice cream makes him more and more horrible as the story moves along. I'm beginning to think that Marty is more of a villain protagonist than an average kid that nobody understands. Just to make Marty even more of an unlikable drug addict, he sells his bike to Ari for ice cream money, so he'll be able to buy out the whole ice cream truck of its delicious treats. Oh, but Marty's stupidity is still there, because he only sold off his brand new bike for $20. Seriously? $20? Who sells a brand new bike for only $20? I know the kid still has that other $20 he stole earlier, but that only leaves him with a total of $40. Marty plans to buy out the whole ice cream truck with only $40? Well, it's honestly not that big of a surprise that Marty's so stupid by this point, since he's been doing drugged ice cream. Not to mention he's as observant as his stupid father officer moron. So Marty still acts like an addict, and tells his idiot parents that he's heading out to bike tonight, which of course the parents stupidly allow. Yeah, I see no wrong in letting your child outside to play at night in a neighborhood where a child was abducted. And get this, the stupid cop father left his keys out where his drug addict son uses them to steal the spike strip right out of the squad car. Worst parents ever. So we see Marty sitting outside, waiting for the creamy cold truck to arrive, where we get a really weird acid trip with our protagonist lusting after the ice cream. Unfortunately, Marty is so obsessed fantasizing about his ice cream that he completely misses the creamy cold truck. No, trust me, you'll all wish it ended like that. So it looks like the truck is leaving, but suddenly the truck starts backing up and comes down the street again. Okay, I'm calling it now. The truck wants Marty to meet with it, since why else would it give him a chance to confront it face to face like this unless it planned this all out? Marty lays out the spike strip to stop the truck, where it deliberately runs over the trap so it can finally stop for Marty. Marty goes up to the truck asking for his ice cream, but he strangely doesn't even bother checking if there's anyone driving the car, and instead climbs right up through the window like an idiot. So after entering the dark truck, Marty finally gains his ice cream, but a strange voice asks the kid if his struggle was really worth it, where we get our twist ending. When Marty mistakes the stranger as the ice cream man, we see that the person in the back of the truck is actually Hagrid?
You're a wizard, Harry.
Actually, no. It turns out that this guy is really Jimmy Jeffries, the boy who disappeared 30 years ago when he went out searching for the creamy cold truck. Jimmy was captured by the ice cream truck as a boy long ago, and it's been keeping him alive by feeding him the magic ice cream, where Jimmy has aged into a gross overweight man played by the minor 49er from Scooby-Doo 2. Not joking, that guy is actually the minor 49er from that movie. On a side note, I know that Jimmy Jeffries has been kept alive by the truck through eating the magic ice cream, but how has he been able to go to the bathroom for all this time? We clearly see that there's no bathroom stall on the truck, and all that waste he's been dumping had to go somewhere. Creamy cold truck, your response?
Well, let me put it this way. There's a reason why we're overstocked on chocolate fudge.
TMI ice cream truck. There's surprisingly more nausea fuel in this episode than nightmare fuel. And I thought the ice cream fetish was bad. So Jimmy reveals that he's been trapped for years and is now totally insane from his isolation, where he informs Marty that the truck needs a soul to live, and that it gets the magic energy from a person so obsessed with ice cream using them as a human battery. The creamy cold truck will provide all the magic ice cream in the world, and in exchange, the payment is a human soul. So apparently the truck releases Jimmy from its control, and somehow becoming insane also makes you a jerk, since Jimmy abandons Marty in the truck to take his place. Jerk. So the truck dumps Jimmy, most likely to frame him for the current child abduction case, and it traps Marty, as it refixes its slashed tires thanks to soul power. When our protagonist begs Jimmy for help, we see that Jeffries is too insane to think, since all the old guy can do now is shout, "It's all you can eat," over and over again. and we conclude our episode with the ice cream truck driving off into the night with Marty trapped inside of it forever, with the last shot focusing on the truck's scary face. And that was the end of Catching Cold. How does it hold up? Honestly, it's pretty great. My only problems with this episode are very minor nitpicks. First off, I'm only a little disappointed that this episode didn't feature more scenes with the ice cream truck from hell. Much like Marty, I wanted more of that truck. The creamy cold vehicle is surprisingly scary and very interesting, especially when we find out that the truck has a mind of its own. Though the episode kind of gives that twist away whenever it closes up on the creeper face to have the truck express its evilness. While I'll admit that the episode is very straightforward to follow, I only wished it was longer so we could have more fear from the demon truck. The creamy cold truck is a very underrated monster. My only other complaint is really on whether or not we're supposed to feel sympathetic for Marty, even though he acted like an obnoxious brat all throughout this story, even before he becomes an ice cream drug addict. I know he's a kid, and kids will make foolish mistakes, but you didn't have to turn the audience against him completely. On the other hand, I think the whole point of this story is to show us Marty suffering bad karma for being a lazy jerk who'd succumb to doing horrible things just to get his hands on ice cream drugs. So it's a basic lesson to teach kids to not be greedy and obsess over something stupid. However, this episode cleverly blends multiple lessons together as well for an even greater impact. We get the lessons on telling people to not take drugs, to stop being lazy, to never manipulate your friends or family for small things, that nothing in life is ever free, and the basic lesson to never trust strangers. Seriously, Marty's cop father was so awful at parenting that he never taught his own son that basic lesson. Thank goodness we have R.L. Stine to psychologically scar us for life with those morals. The creamy cold truck is a very scary villain, since it seems to get some sick kick out of hunting down children to use as a power source. We sadly never know where the truck came from, but I think it's made all the more scarier when the episode implies that the truck only exists in some kind of nether realm, where only people who are so obsessed with ice cream can see it. While I'm still sad that the ice cream truck didn't get as much screen time, it did dominate every scene it was in, so the fear power this vehicle has is pretty high, much like Marty after taking drugs. Catching Cold is the perfect blend of children's nightmares, since it manages to be scary on both a psychological level and a dramatic level. It delivers some pretty good lessons for both kids and adults, and it feels like a fully functional story. This episode is loaded with nightmarish treats to haunt you for life the next time you see the ice cream truck. I don't know how they did it, but they succeeded. R.L. Stine actually made the ice cream truck scary. Good work here, folks. No child will ever run up to buy ice cream from a truck in their neighborhood ever again. I give this episode a gold skull and a perfect score. It really is a fantastic treat for Haunting Hour fans. It's got tons of nightmare fuel, psychological horror, deep lessons, a good story to follow, and a very unsettling villain that'll even scare the parents out there thanks to its drive to abduct children. I strongly recommend seeing this episode if you haven't, because it really is that unbelievably good. Catching Cold is a dark story that starts out with some sweet nightmares before ending on a gruesome twist that nobody will ever forget. Nightmares have never tasted so delicious. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I hope all of you scream for ice cream.
There is no wrong way to fantasize.
Wrong, 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 wrong.